caught on me. But anyway, without further ado, Steve came to us. One of the things I love about working with my phenomenal leadership team is that a lot of times I'll go to my network or my friends or people that I've worked with, and Steve is not part of that, because the other thing I do is sometimes the network of some of my team leaders is so great. Like Manny has been phenomenal, and Stephanie from our Calabasas office, that they have sort of spearheaded some of these great guests. And then I have the lucky opportunity to meet you for the first time and have some of the information, which you did a phenomenal job at our Calabasas office. And I wasn't part of that, so I'm looking forward to hearing what you can teach us and tell us today.
Well, Paul, I'll take it from there. Again, I really appreciate the opportunity to be with y'all. And a lot of these speakers that jump on these webinars, they spend half the time talking about themselves. I'm not that guy. I just want to give you a quick overview. My name's Steve Black. I live in Florida. I'm a licensed agent out there. I don't practice other than referrals. What I specialize in is helping real estate agents take their game to a new level. I've been doing this since 1994. Over the last 10 years, I spearheaded one of the most successful events out there called the Success Summit Seminar that sold out from Australia to London and everywhere in between. Of course, with COVID crisis, that's been put on pause. So for the first time, I'm bringing that content virtually in these master classes. We're going to go about an hour, and I'm going to go fast and furious. I can give you more in an hour than most trainers will give you in 2 days. So you're going to come out of this with at least 10 great nuggets on how to build your business while the crisis is going on, and how to exit it, literally dominating the competition. Paul, right now, you talk about, walking that line between, doing production and showing that you care. It goes hand in hand. I'm going to tell you, people are going through life crises right now. There's a lot of people that obviously have lost their jobs. They aren't in a position to maintain their lifestyle. And this creates an opportunity for every agent on the call to literally, if they could get their mindset right, and you guys do such a great job with Bold and Ignite and the programs that Keller Williams puts together to get that mindset. And then I'm going to show you today how you can use simple strategies with social media that complement everything that you do from your automation processes to Bold. So let's jump right into it. Everybody should have a worksheet. It's a 4-page worksheet. The link is in the chat box. If you didn't take the time to print that out, grab 3 or 4 pieces of paper. Do not multitask. Keep your phone aside and let's just focus, because I'm going to give you some really good $1 million strategies here. Success always, I don't care whether you're listening to Brian Buffini or, Grant Cardone or Tom Ferry, it all starts with written goals. I worked for 14 years with a famous author named Brian Tracy, and he said everything else is commentary. So I'd like everybody at the top of their page to write down a 12-month goal, and your new year starts today. As Tony Robbins says, the past doesn't equal the future. Today is the day that your economic recovery begins. And you can make this the best 10 years of your life if you do what I tell you to do today. So everybody write down a 12-month goal. How much gross commission would you like to earn? 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, $1 million? What is a good, high, realistic goal? Paul, do you think most people overachieve or underachieve their potential?
Sorry, it definitely, there's no question. No question. No question, really have to answer it, right? Underachieve their potential.
Well, I'll tell you, that's why the 20-80 rule exists, the Pareto principle, that 20% of the people in any industry make 80% of the money. And I'm going to tell you, in real estate in Southern California, it's the 10-90 rule.
Absolutely.
Either you've got the skills, you got the contacts, and you're growing every day, or you're asking how are people doing it. So put down a 12-month goal, a big number. If you don't know what number it is, take what you earned in the last 12 months and triple it, because that potential's there. And then put down a 5-year goal, because this is a marathon, not a sprint. Here's your shocking stat of the day. When we talk to buyers at the close and we say, did you like your agent? Would you do business with him or her again? Paul, the agents are doing a great job. You know, the customers say 89% of the time, absolutely, they're my agent for life. They're awesome. They're 5 stars. You fast forward 5 short years when they go to sell or buy again, and only 11% of the people in Southern California are using the same agent. Now, there's a multitude of factors, you know, from the discount brokerages coming in to, you know, agents going out of business. But the number one reason that agents, people aren't using the same agent is the agent has failed to keep top of mind. And I go back to a conversation, you know, with Gary Keller, you know, 20 years ago when I was at a meeting, and he's talking about touch your sphere 33 times a year. That was before social media. And we knew the game plan, you know, part of that was, you know, client events, part of it was phone calls, part of it was automated systems like emails. Well, the thing that's going to help you achieve that and go beyond 33 touches a year to your sphere, to your database, is social media. And I'm going to talk about that. But put down a 5-year goal, you know, whether if you're a $200,000 a year person, that's $1 million. If you're a $500,000 person, it's $2.5 million. But what would you like to earn cumulatively over the next 5 years? And then I'd like to get down to brass tacks, because a lot of my students are killing it right now during the crisis, and they're getting listings and they're putting deals under contract. So I'd like you to put down a 90-day goal. First goal, how many listings are you going to get in the next 90 days? Most of my students are doing at least a listing a week. And how they do that, Paul, it all revolves around activity. I give them a very simple formula. 19, write this down, 19 equals 1. If you could discipline yourself to have 19 conversations a week with people that are homeowners, you're going to do a deal a week. You want to do 2 deals a week, up it to 38. You want to do a deal every other week, do 19 over 2 weeks. But a 1-week plan, a 4-day-a-week prospecting strategy would be to go ahead, put stuff on social media. I'll show you how to do that. Then take that online relationship offline with a phone call, or preferably a Zoom call, so we could feel that emotion, because that's how we're doing it in 2020. And if you could discipline yourself to go out there and 5 days a week, 4 days a week, have 5 Zoom calls a day, you're going to be wildly successful. Set up another goal here. How much you're going to have under contract 90 days from now. So if you sold 2 $400,000 condos a month, that's 2.4 million. All right. So hopefully you've set some goals to do better than you've been doing. Enter in the chat box if you've set a goal to do better than you've been doing. Who wants to improve? Go ahead and say, I'm in. I'm going to go for it. I'm a winner. All right. So I want to give you 5 things that you must master relative to your marketing in 2020 in order to be wildly successful. And I probably have 25 things I could teach you, but I'm going to keep it real simple today because we have limited time. Put down number 1, put down Facebook personal, FB personal. Number 2, write down FB business, Facebook business page. And I'm going to draw a line in the sand and show you that how you use both of these to build your brand, build your business, stay top of mind, and dominate the competition. Number 3, write down video marketing. And as long as you're writing down video marketing, write down the word write down FEAR. Fear. My coach says, Steve, you got to get out there and do more live videos. I'm like, I don't like the way I look on video. He's like, what don't you like? I said, my head's too big and I don't like my voice. And my coach is very direct. He says, Steve, you got a really big head and that's how you sound. You know, with that being said, I hurled my fear and I propelled myself to a totally new level in business due to video marketing. And I'll show you how to use it the right way. Number four, put down Instagram. If you're an Instagram user, say just write down IG in the chat box. All right. We got, is that Clinique Burl? All right, Paul, you're using it. All right. Constance, Francis. All right, IG, Paul Morris. You're an Instagrammer. You don't look like you're 18. Here's how I got on Instagram. I I've been on Facebook, since it started. I can't, I'm 53 years old. So when they told me get on Facebook, I'm like, what am I going to do on Facebook? They said, post a picture of your latte. I go, who wants to see that? And then, 20 minutes later, 20 friends that I hadn't talked to in a while and clients had liked the post. I said, what do I do now? He says, talk to those people. And that was my start in social media. But I was a late bloomer with Instagram. How I got on Instagram was I sent my 15-year-old nephew a $100 gift card. And then I called him on his birthday. I didn't get a call back. I called him again. I didn't get a call back. I called my sister. I'm really pissed. I'm like, what's going on with Dylan? I raised this kid. He won't even call Uncle Steve. He says, my sister says, don't have your feelings hurt. He doesn't call anybody. If you want to talk to him, you got to talk to him on Instagram. Then I jump on Instagram and I see Paul's there and my clients are there and my, people older than me are there. So it's a very important network right now that you must have a presence, and we'll talk about that. And number five, put down virtual selling skills. The hot word out there is pivot. You got to go from doing things one way to doing things another way. But I'm going to tell you, if you don't know how all the ins and outs of Zoom, if you don't know how to use Canva, if you don't know how to use Facebook Live, you are not going to make as much money as you should. So don't grade yourself. We're going to go through a few lessons and then we'll come back to this. I'd like everybody to go to page 2 in the workbook. And if you don't have a workbook, just draw a line down the middle of a page and put on the left side Facebook personal profile. On the right, we're going to do our business page. Now, personal profile on the left, write down this is where you have friends. And then write down 5,000. You're capped at 5,000 friends. Now, most agents I meet, they've got 200 to 1,000 friends. When I first got on social media, my coach was like, you got to connect up with everybody. I didn't get it. I was connecting with Jing in China and Boris in Russia. And then I realized I got to actually connect with people I know. And that was scary because I have some crazy relatives. Anybody out there have crazy relatives? I'm like, what if they intermingle with my clients? And he goes, well, you could put them into friends list. So I'd like everybody to write that down. Write down on the left side, write down friends lists. I'd like you to put your friends into friends list. And you do this from your personal profile. They're basically manila folders in the sky. And it's super simple to do. If you have 200 friends, it's gonna take you, 5 minutes to set up the list. It's gonna take you, a few hours to populate it. If you have Step 0, get organized. So let me go over here to my personal profile.
You went out on us. You went out on us for about 10 seconds there.
Oh, you know what? I flipped the recording on. I've had that happen. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, keep talking. Let me see.
All right. So let's stay with it. Can you all hear me okay?
It sounds shakier.
Okay. Well, let's you know what? Let me stop this extra recording I'm doing because maybe that's causing it.
Using some bandwidth probably.
Yeah, I was recording it locally with ScreenFlow to try to give you guys a better recording, but we won't.
Yeah, we're recording it on Zoom, so we're happy to share that with you.
Perfect. I just want to help as many folks as we can. All right, so hopefully you can hear me okay. And we were just talking about the importance of on Facebook Personal of having friends lists. If you had 5,000 pieces of paper laying around, you couldn't go ahead and wouldn't be efficient. So one of the things I tell everybody when you get started with social media, step 0, go into your friends, set up friends list. I'm going to give you 5 lists to set up. Write these down under Facebook Personal. You should have a list of clients. You should have a list of prospects. Your prospects, those people that you know are going to buy or sell property in the next 6 to 12 months. And also people that come across your news feed. Somebody announces they're getting engaged, or they announce that they're expecting. That person goes from being a regular friend into a list called prospects. Odds are they're going to buy a property in the next 6 to 18 months. And you're going to pay more attention to them. Does that make sense? Your SOI, which is sphere of influence, you need to set up everybody out there who's a possible referral partner. So this is a real big list. And your past customers are also in your sphere list. But a sphere in your sphere, other people that should be in your sphere, accountants, apartment leasing managers, landscapers, attorneys. My favorite attorney, Paul, divorce attorneys. There's 3 deals there: husband, wife, girlfriend. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. In Florida, we call it house, condo. Okay. But once you have your people in lists, your life, you can be uber efficient. So first off, let me show you how to set these lists up. You just go here to friends. You find any friend. Now you could do it a few different ways, but this is one way. I go over here to Blanca here. I hover over this and I go ahead and I say add to another list. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. I'm going to go new list. And that's where I'm going to create the list: clients, prospects, sphere. I would create 2 other lists. Write these down: realtors that are local, like in, you know, if you're in Los Feliz, you know, realtors that are also in Los Feliz, because your message to them, come to my broker's open, I have a new listing, price reduction, is going to be a lot different than the ones that are, you know, in San Francisco. So then you also have realtors out of the area. Now, when we look at Keller Williams, why are you at Keller Williams? A, it's the best company. B, they give you great training. And C, to build your profit share. And I would say that most agents aren't maximizing this. So once you're connected to more agents, you have them in a list, you know, they get that message. Hey, really happy, had a great webinar with Steve Black. If your company's not giving you training, let's have a conversation. But you should be using social media, being connected with other agents. And then your message to people in San Francisco, Dallas, New York, Boston, Chicago, you know, that's, you know, the sunset at the beach, reminding people they have a friend in real estate in Southern California. Now, once you have people in these lists, now your life gets real easy, as I mentioned. So write this down next to Facebook personal. Write down 80% personal, 20% business. All right. Now, agents that have failed with the business page thing, they're like 50-50. They're like talking real estate all the time. Nobody wants to see that. I know you've had people, maybe they're in network marketing and they do that. You ghost them, or you click one button and tell Facebook, I don't want to see this anymore. So you want to, like a 3-day strategy would be this. You know, when you wake up this morning, you take a picture of your coffee cup and you say, you know, hey, really looking forward to today and optimistic, happy to be alive. You know, in the evening, you know, you take a picture of your lasagna. Tomorrow you do a selfie while you're hiking. You know, tomorrow night you take a little picture of your dog. And then the 5th picture, you know, whether it happens tomorrow or the day after, write this down. Tell your story about real estate. Paul, if I'm out there and I'm previewing a beautiful, condo with city lights, I'm going to put a wine glass on the countertop and say, I saw the most beautiful property on tour today. Didn't know this kind of thing even existed. If you were celebrating, would you celebrate with red wine or white wine? And what's going to happen is 100 of your friends are going to jump in and say, I want red, I want white. How much is it? I drink bourbon, I drink water. Where is it? And whether they're asking about the property or they're just popping their head up, it's a great thing. Paul, I just wanted to confirm, you guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah, we can see your screen, and I think when your screen's running video, that might be chewing up a little of the bandwidth, and you were a little choppy, but I still heard everything you said that time.
Yeah, I apologize. I've been enjoying my quarantine. I've been out in Utah. I've been doing some fun stuff, but let me just pull this up. So I was out in Mesquite, Nevada, playing golf at a really crazy golf course. I put up 4 pictures. Now, 4 pictures is a magic number on Facebook. The number you want to avoid, I don't care on your personal profile, your business page, is 2 pictures. If you've ever seen somebody take 2 pictures of a house, what do you get? 2 half houses. So 4 is a really good number. You know, you get the big picture, you get the other pictures. But when you put that picture up, here's how you monetize your personal profile. So here I am, got 20, 30 likes, 11 comments. I'm going to click on the reactions, and I'm going to be able to see. Now, a lot of realtors' main strategy to stay top of mind is to mail postcards to their sphere. There's a 1% open rate. To get 50 people to open your mail, Paul, it would be about you'd have to mail about 5,000 pieces. That's going to run you $2,500. Here you put up a picture of you on the golf course, or you put up a picture of you hiking. And these aren't the only people that have seen it. These are the people who have reacted. But it's your job to be a part of the conversation. Come back in and you look down your list and you're like, oh, wow, Patrick, that's the guy that mentioned me at the holiday party 6 months ago in the neighborhood that he might want to sell in 2020. Would this be the perfect time to send him a message? He's either got his phone in his hand or his computer in his lap. So this is where those 19 conversations start. And when agents go through Bold and they make those 20 phone calls a day, if they've been through my training, they get the best results in the room, because they know all they've got to do is post something interesting on social media and then make their 20 contacts to the people that have reacted. Because I could tell you, Paul, I could reach out to any of these people right now, and they're not going to say Steve who. They're going to say, Steve, how'd you shoot the other day? Or are you enjoying the Southwest? So that's a crash course on how to use your personal profile. And now I want to talk about how to use your Facebook business page. So if you have a Facebook business page, enter into the chat box how many likes you have on your page. And if you're not sure, just guess, and I'll show you where you can find that. But go ahead and enter into the chat box how many likes you have on your business page. Now, most of my students have somewhere between 2,000 and 100,000 likes on their business page. And I'm going to tell you, that puts them in a competitive advantage when they go on a listing presentation. Let's not be naive, everybody. Everybody knows at least 10 to 20 realtors. Like, oh, why do they go choose you? Why do they go with you? Because you Let's have a case study here. First off, go to your page in your workbook that says Facebook under business page, and put down 3 things for me. Put down 1, 2, 3. Put down first goal with your business page. Put down make your page look great. Not good, but great. So we look at a second thing. Put down get people to like your page. And put down number 3, focus on getting positive reviews. Not on some social site you're paying for, directly on Facebook, because that's where people are going to land most of the time. And it's my belief that your business page is more important than your web page. And why I say that, Paul, is because it's hard to get traffic to a web page. It's easy to get them to your Facebook page. So making your page look great. So this gentleman is out in Virginia. When my coach got with them, they had a conversation for about a half hour. She asked him, what's your ideal clientele? What would you like your business to look like? He goes, well, all things being equal, I'm a veteran. I like to work with veterans and first responders. She goes, why is your marketing built around generalities then? Why don't we focus on that? He's like, well, I want to sell it to everybody. We go, you will dominate your market with first responders and veterans, and you'll still do a whole lot of business with everybody else. So then we actually built this out for him, where we built what's the first thing you notice about his business page? It's got a video. Yeah. If you have a video on your business page, go ahead and enter in the chat box that you have a video. If you don't, let me give you the tips on it. It needs to be from 20 seconds to 90 seconds. Your video, okay, Christopher, I'm gonna check yours out. Give me a link to your business page. All right, so whether it's better or worse isn't necessarily the factor. So here's a Keller Williams agent, the #1 listing agent in Winter Park, which is Florida, which is the Beverly Hills of of Orlando. And she got involved with me about, I'll look that up. She got involved with me about 4 years ago. She was an average agent. She is now the top listing agent at her office. First off, she has video cover. Again, I don't know what's going on with my internet. It's stalling. If we looked at her community tab, she's got over 5,000 people liking her page. These are friends, family, and people in her sphere. She used a special hack that we teach to go from 500 likes to over 4,000 likes. And then she gets people at open houses, people she networks with, to like her page. She now owns those people. She is able to pay Facebook as a new post office to stay top of mind. Talk about putting your 33 touches a year on autopilot. If you get them to like your page, it's easy. There's other strategies and tactics you can use, but I'm going to also tell you, this is a competitive advantage. If she goes up against an agent that has, 150 likes on their business page, do you think she gets the listing? She gets it every time. Because she says to him, well, I know you're considering John from XYZ company. Is it this John that only has 150 likes? I don't know if you saw, I have over 5,000 likes on my business page. They look at her like, hey, what's the big deal, Miss Social Media? And she says, the big deal is this: your house can sell for $475 or $495, depending on how many eyeballs we get on it. Why don't you give me the listing first? And you know what? Every time customer brings up an objection, well, the other agent will do it for 5%. She says, yeah, but you're not getting the network that I bring to the table. So there's a whole lot of things that you could do with your business page. One of the best things to do, let's all go back to the worksheet, and let's take a look at number 3 on your worksheet, video marketing. And video marketing is if I had to tell you where the puck is going, when I was a kid, I watched my hockey a lot, and my favorite hockey player was Wayne Gretzky. And he said, hey, the reason I score so much is I go where the puck is going, not where it's been. So if I had to tell you what to do more of, again, it's video. And I want you to just focus on 2 kinds of video today. Write down Facebook Live, and write down video testimonials. So Facebook Live, if we went to Lisa's business page out in Orlando, what you would find is that she's done hundreds, if not thousands, of videos, most of them as Facebook Lives. And what we found over this time is that you should do your Facebook Lives. I'm going to give you a range from 3 minutes to 30 minutes. And I know what you're thinking, that I wouldn't watch a video for more than, a few seconds unless you're really interested in a topic, okay? When the fires are raging, in the canyons, and you're out there doing a live video talking about which roads are closed, guess what? People are gonna tune in. Out in Orlando, they just had a huge hailstorm. So what my coaching students did was interview roofers about how to go ahead and get the roofs covered. No. So besides pushing buttons, you need to have strategy in place. Because of the internet connection, I can't show you the video I want to show you, but one day that she did made her $37,000. No, I don't mean Mario Lemieux. I mean Wayne Gretzky. Paul knows who he is. He actually played for the Kings for a while. Boy, I don't know what's going on with that internet. Well, I'm going to just keep rolling through it. Let me see if I get this closer to the door, if that helps. Okay. But anyways, we were talking about video. So get a strategy together. She did one interview with a loan officer, and we did it via a special software that I teach you to use. And the topic was this: creative ways to finance jumbo loans. And Paul, we had 2,200 people view it. Now, full disclaimer, we used organic and paid techniques to get 2,200 views. Our budget on it, a whopping $10. And we reached 2,200 people. And one of the people that responded to that typed in to her said, hey, I have 800,000 in equity in my house. I want to buy a place for $1.4 million. What are my options? The loan officer got the loan. She got the listing. She represented the purchase. She's a capper, so she made 37,000. One Facebook Live, one strategy. I want to talk about some another thing here. Write down video testimonials. Anybody have any video testimonials from happy, satisfied customers? Let me show you an example of a video. This is Lisa talking about me at the seminar.
This is Lisa Nolan with Keller Williams Winter Park. This is my 4th Business Success Summit with Steve Black. And every time I come, I learn something new. And I have gone from 500 likes on my business page to 4,300. It's amazing. Everything that he has taught me has just increased my business. My production has tripled. I just can't thank him enough. It's a total awesome, simple.
So anyways, that's a video she gave me. But what I'd like, I have a challenge for everybody on the call. In the next 30 days, I'd like you to go out there and get 2 videos. I'd like you to get a seller to talk about you and how awesome you were, and they didn't want to pay you 6%, and they're glad you did. And I'd like you to get a video from a buyer. What are you going to have a buyer say? You're going to say, hey, I was using those apps. I was spinning my wheels. Properties were sold. I got with Johnny, or I got with AJ, and in 4 days, they found me my dream house. They negotiated a great deal. They paid for themselves many times over. Skip the apps, deal with the human. The agent said, Johnny from Keller Williams is the best. So anyways, that's just kind of a crash course. Well, Linda, I see your comment. I'm so new, I can't get a testimonial. So what I want you to do is, if you're working with a buyer, get them to talk about what a great communicator you are, how you are the service that you're giving. You have that person in your life. If you don't have that buyer, hold an open house for somebody and pick yourself up a buyer. We're not looking at obstacles on this webinar. We're looking at how can we be successful.
I love what Steve said in terms of there's always a solution, right? And so if you don't have a buyer, you don't have a seller, you could go to a great business owner and say, hey, whoever would be relevant to your audience about providing service. This guy or gal is phenomenal. They'll take care of your needs. Here's my experience.
Absolutely, Paul. And when I was playing golf, as you saw the other day, and we got to this top of this cliff, and I'm playing with a pro, and I looked at him, I said, I can't do this. He said, Steve, ignore the traps, ignore the cliff, ignore the bushes. See that right there? That's the tiger line. And the most successful thing for those of you on the line is how, the word how, write that down. How can I be successful? How can I get testimonials? How can I build my audience? All right, so I want to pause for a minute. We've talked about your Facebook personal profile. We've talked about your business page. We've talked a little bit about video marketing. I have more content to cover, but I want you to give yourself a score from 2 to 9. How are you doing at each of these areas? 2 means you don't even have a business page, but you're coachable. I leave the 1s for the people that either A, didn't show up for the webinar that were invited, or the people that aren't coachable. Paul, I cannot help a 1. I can make a 2 in a simple session like this, a 4. If they get involved with me and spend 2 months with me, they can be a 7 or 8. I like to tell everybody, you'll never be as good as a 15-year-old, but the 15-year-old will be impressed with you. And so rate yourself. Are you a 2? Are you a 5? You know enough to be dangerous. You could throw me a word like algorithm. You're a 9. You could teach the class. All right. So we had a question from Bradley, which was, is your personal page open to the public? So let's just keep the phraseology correct. Personal profile where you have friends, business page where you have likes. So everything you post on your business page is public. On your personal profile, you have privacy settings. So when I put up that picture of me at the golf course, I shared that publicly. Okay, that little globe. All I'd have to do, if I only wanted to share that with my friends and family, I could go to my friends and family list. I do that when I'm with my 6-year-old niece. I don't show her to every creepo in the world, but 15 friends and family. When you're handing the keys to a client, maybe you share that with your client list, your prospect list, your sphere list. And once you understand this, you do social media the right way. People that don't understand how to do this, here's what they do with Facebook. They set up 2 accounts, one for their friends and one for their clients. Well, that's a violation of terms of service. I get 3 or 4 emails a month saying, what do I do? Facebook took my accounts away. I say, talk to Zuckerberg. Don't talk to me because I warned you. So have 1 account. If you have 2 accounts, shut one down, move everybody to 1 account, put them into list, and then manage your privacy. We go into that in some of our additional training. So let me keep moving. Let me move a little. Let's go to number 4 on the worksheet. Let's talk about Instagram. And then there's a page, number 3 on Instagram, that I'd like you to go to. If you don't have this page, write down numbers 1, 2, 3. Now, again, I have about 30 things that I need to teach you about Instagram, or actually my coach, Karen, needs to teach you about Instagram. And we put it together in a 90-minute webinar. It has a very detailed workbook, that's like 20 pages. But today we're going to focus on 3 things. First off, write down number 1 account. While you can have 2 Instagram accounts or 3 or 4, why dilute your followers? Here's my strategy that works, okay? Have 1 account, set it up, write down as a business account. So if you go into the settings on your Instagram, you go to the little gear and you see if it says switch to business. And then you'll have 2 options, switch it to a creator account. That'll give you the most options. And then go ahead and do an audit on your Instagram. Your Instagram profile is for your best stuff. That $1 million listing you took where you hired a photographer and you got 20 great pictures, that stays on your profile forever. All right. Instagram stories tell the story of your day. So number 2, put down Instagram stories. And why I like Instagram stories, for a number of reasons. A, it's the most consumed content on Instagram. But if you know what you're doing, you can highlight these stories. So here's my Instagram profile. And just put down number 3, make your profile look great. And if we were spending time on a more detailed webinar, we'd talk about your headshot. I know some of your friends have pictures of the mountains, pictures of the beach, pictures of the Rams helmet or whatever, but that's not you. If I met you on the Sunset Strip, at a restaurant, you follow me, I'm gonna follow you back if I recognize that picture. Your handle. If your handle's California Dude 78, we need to have a conversation. I want something that's professional and I want it across all 3 networks. I want to be able to, just put @Steve Black Speaker. That's Facebook, that's LinkedIn, that's Instagram. It's called branding. Your bio. The way the interface works on Instagram, it kind of bunches things together like it is in the workbook. You can go into a notepad, copy the stuff, bring it back in. You could also do this with your posts to make them look cleaner. And since you're setting your account up as a business account, not a personal account, you get 1 link here. Now in our 90-minute webinar that you'll have access to if you decide to move forward with us, we'll show you how to turn that into 10 links. And Paul, that could go to their IDX search, it could go to their Facebook page, it could go to their listing of the week, but your goal is to maximize this very valuable real estate that you have. Now, I talked about stories briefly. And one of the things I like about stories is that you can also create surveys. So these are highlighted stories, these little circles. And I want you to imagine that they're current listings, recently sold, buyer tips, seller tips, and surveys. So I had a probably 82-year-old lady out in Florida enroll in the course that I have. And she called me about 2 weeks later, it was New Year's, and she says, Steve, I'm really enjoying your training. My nephew came over, watched it with me, set up my Instagram. I have 300 followers. What do I do now? And I'm like, well, post something, do a selfie with the Happy New Year's photo on or a hat on. And then she goes, okay. And I go, also share it to your story and do it as a survey. She goes, what survey should I do? I go, like I taught you on the webinar, since you're a realtor, why don't you ask those 300 people who's planning to move this year? And Paul, the light bulb should go off here for everybody. She had 300, of the 300 people, she had 17 people say, yes, I'm planning to move. She calls me back, on January 4th, says, what do I do now? I'm like, ma'am, please either call those people,
Hey, Steve, having a little issue with
And-
the sound. There we go.
Oh boy. Well, what
Got
I'm going to
better,
do, I'm gonna, we'll get you the link for everybody, even the people that missed it, of one that's real clean and recorded. But I apologize. What did we miss there? We were talking about Instagram stories and how to use surveys.
Mhm.
Okay. So let me stop the screen share. Maybe that'll give us a little
That
less.
helps. The stopping the screen share helps, and then yeah, closing out of some of the tabs. But I think just stopping the screen share will help a lot.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. I'm at a hotel and so I have the virtual background up. I'm going to take that off as well, and hopefully that'll help. All right. So we were talking about a lot of things here. Instagram. Having a strategy in place, using surveys, just a ton of stuff that needs to be done. I want to talk about number 5, and then I want to kind of wrap this up. Number 5 on your worksheet, put down virtual selling skills. And, people are either out there, Paul, complaining about, I can't get out of the house, I don't like using Zoom, I can't do any business, or they're saying, wow, God sends me every opportunity in life gift wrapped in a problem. I'm going to get through the gift wrapping to get to the opportunity. See, when the economy was great, a lot of people didn't want to move. They're like, where am I going to move to? Now, their spouse has lost their job. Their portfolio's down 20%. And while this is a tragedy for them, it's an opportunity for you. And God will send you every opportunity in your life gift wrapped in a problem. So I want you to get really good at selling over Zoom. I want you to learn how to use Canva. I want you to learn how to do Facebook Live. So give yourself a score. So now you should have a profile. Look at your page and ask, and you should have graded yourself in each of these areas, and ask yourself, if you got better at these areas, are you going to make more or less money? And the answer unequivocally is you're going to make more money if you have better skills. But none of it matters unless you have the right attitude. So I'd like you to go to page 4 in the workbook, and I'm going to pull that up again on the screen. And I'd like you to go to page 4, and it says 59 minutes to terrific. And those of you that have been through Bold, or that you've read, the book, The Morning Miracle, this will sound familiar to you. But I learned that, I've been teaching this for 25 years. I learned this from a very successful speaker named Zig Ziglar. And he says, start your day with the hour of power. And Paul, when I went to that seminar that cost me $1,000, I actually did it. And it worked so well, I've been doing it for 23 years. And I want you to do it for 21 days. If you do this for 3 weeks in a row, you're going to develop a habit that's going to last you a lifetime. It's going to get you through the ups and downs of life. It's going to get you through, health issues, your spouse's issues, everything. When you wake up in the morning, number 1, write down, number 1, positive affirmation. When you woke up this morning, did you say, good morning, God, or good God, it's morning? It's a choice. I woke up, and at 4 a.m., I opened the window and I said, I'm awake, I'm alive, I feel great. Number 2, jot down, drink 2 big glasses of water. I used to weigh about 50 pounds more than I do now. And people say, how'd you lose all the weight? I said, what they say, was it the keto diet, the Hollywood diet? I'm like, no, it was just drinking water and lots of it. So hydrate. My 3rd bit of advice for you. Number 3, exercise for 15 to 30 minutes. And it's like Nike says, just do it. If your gym is closed, that's no excuse. You take your dog for a hike. All right. You do some calisthenics, but there's a body-mind connection. You need to get up and you need to exercise in the morning. The second most important thing here, number 4, feed your mind. Gary Keller would tell you, Keller Williams is not a real estate company. It's an education company that happens to be in real estate, right? And so I want you to read at least a chapter a day in a book. Here's how most people start their day. They grab their phone and they get lost in Facebook or Instagram or Snap. Or they go to CNN and they watch constant negative news. Check the body count. That is not going to help you sell your next house. You need to control your environment. People say, Steve, why are you always positive and upbeat while everybody else is down? I go, because I don't participate in recessions. Right? I'm committed to making this my best decade ever in spite of what's going on. And number five, the most important thing in today's world with protests and viruses, write down gratitude journal. And when I was taught this at that seminar by Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn, Paul, when I was 29 years old, they said, are you keeping a journal? I said, I don't have time. They said, you don't have time not to. I go, what do I write down? They go, find 3 things every day you're grateful for and put them on paper. I said, what if I was cocky 29-year-old? I said, what if I'm not grateful for anything? They said, therein lies the gift. And that's straight wisdom. So this morning I wrote in my journal, I'm grateful my 10-year-old lab is with me and happy and healthy. I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to be with you guys. I'm grateful I got to talk to my 83-year-old mother yesterday. And when you start expressing gratitude for all the little things, guess what? You realize that you are truly blessed, unseen forces come to your aid, and you'll come out of this crisis victorious instead of being a victim. 1% on the worksheet there, write down next to 1%, the word grow, G-R-O-W. Every day, get a little bit better, like the social media, marketing, sales. Inch by inch, this stuff's a cinch. Your goal is to be 1% better every day. You'll be 365% better at this time next year. And then here's your 4-4-4. I want you to do at least 4 books a year. Read at least 4 books. I just did a webinar and a lady said, I did 50 Shades of Grey, all 3. Does that count? I said, it depends what your marketing plan is. Just kidding. But readers are leaders. The second 4, audiobooks. If you're stuck in traffic, don't get frustrated, get educated. And the last 4, training programs. When things come back to normal, first thing you should be at, family reunion. You say, well, I can't afford to go this year. You can't afford not to go. You're going to meet people that are referral partners. What if you meet somebody from a different city and they end up giving you a deal, $500,000 transaction? Your $800 just turned into 10 grand. You know, you should be, if you're part of, if you're working with Tom Ferry, or you're working with me, or you're working with Brian Buffini, do something. You should definitely do Bold. You should do Ignite. Then you should get an outsider's perspective like mine. And you combine that, and guess what? You end up on the top of the heap instead of as an also-ran. You're victorious instead of being a victim. The 3% on the worksheet, write down 3% is self-development budget. All top producers, all agents that have been around know you've got to invest in yourself. And the government even lets you take your education, your Bold investment, your tuition with me, your tuition with Family Reunion, and let you write it off as a tax deduction. So as I kind of wind down, I apologize for the issues with the internet. That's beyond my control. But what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to write down 3 things that you need to improve on. And I'd like you to be very specific. So for example, you write down, I need to get to 5,000 likes on my business page within 12 months. I need to get a social media calendar together. I didn't really talk about that, but that's one thing that you should have. Like last Sunday was Cancer Survivors Day. You should have posted on your business page about it. It would have created goodwill. You would have created conversations. You have a calendar that says, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to interview a small business owner. Lisa, who I showed you, one of her strategies, besides interviewing loan officers and title reps, she goes out to local restaurants and she has Vinny, the pizza guy, talk about how to make a pizza from home. And guess what? Vinny loves her, Paul. And Vinny sends her 5 or 6 clients a year. And you know what? She can't walk into Whole Foods without saying, you're the lady that did the pizza interview. She doesn't talk real estate. She goes hyper local with her marketing. And we're going to show you those strategies if you move forward with us. So anyways, you got your 3 things down. Everybody enter in the chat box. What's the one thing that you really need to focus on? The one thing that you must get better at if you're going to double or triple your income. Instagram, video strategy. Okay, so Linda asked me to highlight the 5 areas with the connection problems. I might have missed some. So I'm gonna give you the 5. Number 1 was build out your Facebook personal profile. That means add more connections, put them into lists. Number 2, Facebook business page. Establish it, set it up right, develop a marketing message that is in line with what your business is about, get more likes, develop a content strategy, follow a calendar. Number 3, we talked about video marketing, including Facebook Live and video testimonials. Number 4, we talked about Instagram, and we just touched the tip of the iceberg. And number 5, we talked about virtual selling skills. I hope you got that, Linda.